Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Dear Work Wives, where we help you create work cultures that just don't suck. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Every time. Hopefully.
The goal. That's the goal, at least.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world?
Big update that I think is going to go in exact opposition of what I said on like the last episode or episode before. As we record this, I'm currently wearing jeans.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that update.
I know. Neither was I.
How come? What changed your mind?
So I'm going to meet a friend for lunch later, and I was like, you know what? Instead of just like only putting the jeans on to leave my house, I'm going to put them on and see if I can work on them for a bit. And it's not terrible.
Okay.
And I do, like, I did my hair, I did my makeup, and I'm like wearing real clothes, and I'm like, I do feel better about myself today. So
all right.
So that's what's going on in my world. Is I'm a whole new person. Really. Thanks for third day curls. What else is going on? On Friday, I'm taking my girlfriend to the spa. She's never had a massage. Ooh. She's never been to like a spa. Her and I, we went to like a thermal spa, but she's never been and gotten a treatment and stuff like that. And so it's her birthday today. So I'm taking her on Friday to go get a massage and a pedicure. And I'm so excited. And I'm just counting down the minutes till that.
Wow. Has she ever also getting it?
Not like a spa pedicure. You know, I think she sat at like the nail salon and gotten a pedicure. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I'm really excited.
I can't imagine. I mean, I guess I can because I probably didn't have a massage until later in life. But
just the people who like don't prioritize it. I'm like, like James goes for like sports massages, you know, where it's just you just walk into like a boring place and get on the table, get your massage, walk out, you know.
That's what I used to have a lot, like when I was doing a lot of competitive sports. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I guess I did have massages throughout my life, but that was like because I was an athlete. But not like for luxury.
Like the spa experience with the aromatics and stuff. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I've been counting down for weeks. I've been just like, oh, I need it to be the 29th.
Is it here yet? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been a week already, so it couldn't have come at a better time, to be honest.
I know. You've been having a week since Monday, so
yeah.
It's Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday, but I've lived a whole week every day. Oakley was in the ER for asthma attack. He's been homesick. The school bus has been canceled every morning. So, you know, it's been a week. So I'm happy to be here doing this because it's always a bright spot.
This is being recorded post Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift news. So did that brighten your week, or how are you feeling about?
Okay, so I absolutely did not think that this was a real thing. I thought he was just pulling like what that FIFA driver did, and like someone spread a rumor, and then he was leaning into it.
No. FIFA driver. FIFA is soccer.
Not FIFA. What is it?
You mean Formula One?
Formula One. F1 and FI. So close. You know what I mean? See, it's been a week. Formula One. Shut up. Well, so am I inside. So Formula One driver.
Like, milking the PR.
Well, I thought he was just like playing fun, like, oh, you know, she, because lots of people have gone to see the Eras tour, right? So I thought he was just like, oh, she's so great, and I made her a friendship. Like, I thought it was just all for fun, and he's obviously very thirsty as like just an individual. He's very loud and theatrical, so I thought he was just going for it. So when I saw her at that Chiefs game beside his mom, I was like, good for her. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Like, have fun.
Do you think there's been like a relationship, or do you think that this was the first time that they were meeting?
I don't think this is the first time they're meeting. I think that maybe they've at least chatted on the phone. I don't know how they would have met because I don't know how they could have met. But
for like
I guess keep it really low key. She seemed really buddy with his friends. So I don't know. It's possible that maybe they've hung out once or twice, but I don't know. I just keep seeing all the TikToks that were like, for once, Taylor gets to be a small girl, you know, because he's giant and she's also really tall.
That part for her. That's like the body type of a person that she should be with.
So she gets to be like protected and taken care of. Like, I don't know. And that's so patriarchy,
like, feel but right now, like she's feeling petite, and I love that because she's always the monster on the hill, you know?
Yeah. And do I think that this is like a match? I don't know. I don't know anything about them. Maybe it is. They have a lot of similar family values. I don't even care. I'm like, good for them. Like, have fun, be friends. Who knows, right? But I do think it's kind of. I'm back.
I lost you.
Okay, no, I came back, but
I marked the clip.
Okay, perfect.
Mark it again.
We'll see if I can fix it or if it needs to be fixed. But anyway, it's great. Good for them. Have fun. Yeah. What about you?
My updates or my Taylor thoughts?
Your Taylor takes.
I think it could have been the first time. I think it could have been like he invited her, like maybe they've talked on the phone or text or whatever, but I totally think this could have been the first time that they were like actually meeting in person and hanging out.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like her getting along with the friends and Mama Kelsey, I just think that she's that type of girl. Like, I just think that she could easily hang and get along with anyone, even when she just first meets them. So I think that she was just trying to have some fun, and I think she's open to like this just being a fun date. And like she had the day free and she's like, sure, I'll go to the Chiefs game, like I'll meet you, whatever. And I don't know, I think she'll date him for a little while and then it'll probably be over. But I love this for her because that's like physically the type of man I feel like she needs to be with right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's emotionally going to be the relationship that she, or like intellectually, I don't know if it'll be the relationship.
Like, he just seems like such a nice family first. Like, they have a lot in common, and she's actually really silly. So it's possible.
Like, I could see it.
I could see it. It's like the American dream.
It would make like beautiful babies.
Oh my God.
Be tall
athletic, D1 athletics. Like, yeah. Maybe they'll drive in the FIFA World Cup or FIFA race.
FIFA World Cup.
Yeah. No, that is a thing, right?
I know.
Right? I'm so not sports smart unless it's hockey or baseball. So
go sports.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get a Kansas Chiefs jersey? Can't wait.
No. People are making like the Eras tour, like with the Taylor's Eras, but like with Kelsey or with them together. I'm like, I might get that.
I mean, I'll be a bandwagon Chiefs fan for now. I don't.
I have really like
into the NFL, so like, sure.
I have no affiliation with any team. Like, when in doubt, I've cheered for the Seahawks in the past because I think their uniforms are nice. I like the colors. It's like navy blue and lime green, and I think they're fun. And I do tend to lean towards Seattle area teams for when I lived out there. I was like, oh, I like the Seahawks. I like the Mariners when they're not playing the Blue Jays. But I think I'm a Chiefs fan now. I got to support my friend's partner. Yeah. Like, that's how it works, right?
Yeah, your friend's
my friend.
Too, so. Yeah. I did see some posts about like Taylor needs to like, you know, get the Chiefs to not use, you know, Native American language. Right. I was like, well, I can agree with like we need to change the Chiefs name, but I don't really think that that's Taylor's job.
That's like, not, but she like it's not her job, but it's also not her job. Like,
yeah, I think it's everyone's job. It's like, everyone's just job. Went on one date to a Chiefs game. Like,
right. She doesn't hold the fate of the Chiefs name in her hands now, you know?
Yikes.
I do think that it's everyone's job to speak up when, like, there was little known fact that there is a CFL, like the Canadian Football League. Mm-hmm. It's the same, but the rules are a little bit different, so it's really confusing. There was a team called, like, the Edmonton Eskimos.
Oh.
Yeah, which is changed now. They're the Edmonton Elks.
Okay.
Now. So it's like, it's time. You know, like my brother was a professor. Pardon?
Is it offensive to Elks now?
Maybe, but then like Toronto would be offensive to Blue Jays and Leaves.
Every single team would be offensive to an animal then, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's time to like move to like, you know, it's 2023. Like my brother is a university professor and he used to be a professor at Ryerson University, which they have since changed the name of the university. So for 2 years, it was University X because they had no name while they voted on a new name because Ryerson is like not the best. And
what is that? Better. I don't even know what that
is. He was like one of the first like colonizers essentially of Canada.
Okay, so it's like the equivalent of like Robert E. Lee School. Like,
yeah. Okay. So now it's like Metropolitan University because it's in downtown Toronto. Cool. Exactly. Yeah. So, but just it's time, you know? And so like other teams have changed their names, like the Cleveland team.
Browns?
No, it's a baseball team. They used to do like the tomahawk chop. I don't know. It was like really the Indians, the Cleveland Indians. They've changed that name. Okay. But like there's so many teams, like the Chicago Blackhawks, the Braves.
That's a college team. They definitely still do the tomahawk chop, and they're Seminoles, which is and they even have like a horse run out with a Native American on its back.
Yeah. So not Taylor's job, but also not Taylor's job. Like it's all of our jobs to be like, hey, we're better than this, so we're gonna change these names. I know it's expensive. I get that, but do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like do what Edmonton did. They just made sure their new name had an E as well. So like all of their branding and logo is still the same. Double E. You know, they went from Eskimos to the Elks. So anyway,
well,
that was a
tangent. Like a good time to do it while all the money is in the Chiefs universe right
100%.
Now, right?
100%. But I know more about football than I've ever known in my whole life. So this is
just
great.
In the past few days.
Right. Like I saw
what is Travis Kelce's position?
Tight end.
And is he on the offense or the defense?
Defense. I don't know. He's got to catch the ball, right? And then he's have to stop the other quarterback. Isn't that defense?
He has to catch the ball.
I don't know. I watched a TikTok of someone dumbing this down, and it was like, okay, let's introduce our new dad. He's a Ken, and his job is ball.
His job is ball. Okay, I could be wrong too, but
I
thought that he catches the ball from Patrick Mahomes, like his quarterback.
Right. He does catch the ball because that's how he got a touchdown.
He stops people from sacking his quarterback.
So how is that not defense?
That's offense.
If he stops people from hitting his own quarterback, isn't he defending his quarterback?
Yeah, but they're on off. If the quarterback is on the field, they're on offense.
I don't think you understand. I know nothing about football.
That has become blatantly obvious in the last minute and a half.
Literally nothing about football, except for it looks like a really good time to go tailgating, and the game takes way too long. And why does the last 2 minutes take half an hour?
Oh, at least half an hour, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess I have to give you I'm going to a Florida football game, University of Florida in a week and a half, and
next year
if you're going to come with me next year, I have to give you a lesson.
Yes, please. Okay, so I guess this makes sense. So when the quarterback is on the field, the offense is on the field. Yes. And they change. Okay, so I'm used to sport. Actually, I guess it's like baseball. Offense is on the field and then defense is on the field. You're playing offense and then you're playing defense. I got it.
They're still kind of
Those are the same players though, but I get the concept right now. Because in hockey, your offense and your defense is always on together.
People.
You know?
Yeah. It's just, are you playing offense or are you playing defense?
Yeah. Okay, wow.
Go sports.
Go sports. That FIFA race, that FIFA driver. Really?
Oh my gosh.
I'm really proud of us. I know. I'm so sorry, listeners.
Which is not sports. Do you want to talk about some stories?
We could talk about curling. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
I know nothing about curling, but today we have some news articles, some news stories to mix things up this week. I thought there were some fun headlines.
Yes.
That I wanted to talk about.
Perfect.
So, first story, and we can include all the links to the stories for those of you who would like to read more. But first one is about the Levi's CEO, and he said that he fired more than half of his execs during his first 18 months in the role as president CEO, and he regrets not letting go of some of that staff more quickly. So,
okay.
I thought this was an interesting article. This was way back in 2011, I think, is when he became the CEO and president. And at that time, the brand was not doing as well as it is now. It's kind of like been revitalized, probably in his era. But he's quoted in this article as saying, like, the easiest way to change the culture is to change the people. And it sounds like when he came in, there was a lot of maybe leadership that wasn't on board with the changes that maybe he wanted to make to transform the organization, or like he knew what needed to be done. So he had 11 direct reports, and in the first 18 months, 9 of them were gone. Can you imagine? Like, says he still didn't act quickly enough. And then he says one of his, his biggest regrets is not exiting some of those people sooner, but also losing people that he regrets that they lost, that he wished he would have moved people forward faster and helped with their careers and focused on them, because he said he lost a lot of great people as well. And he just said, like, at the end of the day, it's a people game. And so I just wanted to talk about that. Like, what are your thoughts?
So I think
took the right approach. Do you agree?
So I think in their specific scenario, if they were clearly trying to do like essentially a rebuild of their brand. Like, sometimes you have to clean house, like, I think because you're going to inherit people who are the people that got you into the situation where you need to do a rebrand.
Yeah.
And this is so cold of me. I understand, like, I understand this is like real people's lives. So I don't mean to be so callous about it. But it's also like factual, and also people leave people. So if you have good people who are working for people who are stuck in their own ways, who like are contributing to like not the culture that you want, like, people are going to leave because they don't want to work with those people.
Yeah.
More so than that's the number one reason that I think most people leave their job. I mean, money and people, and a company like Levi's has to be paying like a decent, like, I have to imagine that it wasn't like a low paying job that people were leaving.
Correct. These are executives, right?
Right.
I mean, I think his statement of like the easiest way to change the culture is to change the people. I would 100% agree with that, right? Like, that is the easiest way. And that's what he's saying. It's the easiest way. It's not the only way, but I think it is the easiest way if you like, because your culture is a makeup of the people and what they embody, and if those people, especially if there was 9 out of 11 executive staff that needed to go, like, obviously when he came on, there was a completely different type of culture that he wanted to create. And it would be really hard to get those people probably on board with his type of culture versus just cleaning house. And kind of like when a president comes in, you get to build your own, staff. You don't typically bring the past staff. You might bring, you might ask some of them to continue on, but for the most part, you're bringing your people because you have a certain culture and agenda that you want to accomplish. So I could totally agree that that's probably the easiest way to change the culture, is like, we got to get the people in here who are on board with the type of culture that I want us to have. So
I think there's definitely, I can imagine there's tiers of it. Like, there's going to be people who right off the bat you can tell are not going to be a fit, and then there's probably a group of people who you're giving a chance to adapt, and maybe those are the people that he's like, I should have got rid of them sooner, So I think you have to be, if you're gonna be in that, like, okay, let's see how you do, you have to be like very, I almost want to say like boundaried around it. Like, we need to see XYZ within X amount of time. Otherwise this could drag on indefinitely,
Totally.
But also I do think that people deserve an opportunity, because if they've grown up in their job, in that culture, like, they need an opportunity to like know better, do better. You can't expect people to change if you don't give them an opportunity to change, or the tools and resources required to change.
Yeah.
So
which it sounds like he did that, 18 months for a lot of them.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time to get on board or to decide
or not.
Yeah, it's going to work.
Yeah, especially if he was trying to make improvements to the culture. Like usually those are, you would think that those are usually pretty easy to adapt to. But sometimes improving your culture requires creating more structure, and people don't like that. If they've operated out on an island and now the new culture requires, there's freedom in structure. So if you're trying to implement that, people are like, no, I don't want to play by the rules.
I think it could have also been like brand direction, or like who do we want, like vision,
right.
like who do we want to be as a brand, to like reinvigorate this Levi's brand that maybe people were just not in agreement with. And then that's hard to like get them to maybe fully buy into it or something, because at that executive leadership level, it's like, I need you bought into this vision and shifting the brand or the messaging or the quality or whatever it is that he was like super gung-ho about making sure was the new direction. So
yeah, I mean, this podcast is the perfect example of like, you can not fit, you could want to take a message in a different direction, and it there's some episodes of this podcast that could absolutely be on the Run Like Clockwork podcast.
Yes.
But you and I couldn't show up and talk about Travis Kelce and the FIFA drivers for 15 minutes on the Run the Clockwork podcast, because this is like a different brand. We wanted to take this in a different direction than what we already had.
Yeah.
They were serving two different communities, and it requires us to show up differently. If you're asking people to kind of make that shift, maybe they can't make it, Maybe they don't
cannot get
jive with it themselves. Yeah.
They're like, I don't think that's the right move, and then that's hard for them to get their team like excited about.
Right. Or they don't see themselves in the brand.
Yeah. It's like a huge part of being an executive is like getting your team excited and hitting goals. And if you can't do that, it would be, So I think it's a interesting story, and I agree.
Yeah, like it seems cold maybe, but at the end of the day, like
they're also executives, so it'll probably be easy for them to find another gig,
I'm sure Ralph Lauren is hiring, like, you know what I mean? Like Tommy Hilfiger,
Not feeling too bad for them.
Yeah.
It's not like he went in and cleaned out entire departments, which I honestly respect more, like he cleaned out the executives, which
start from the top.
The easiest way to shift the culture. And then if people don't agree with those executives and who's managing them, then they get to make a choice for themselves of whether or not they want to continue,
Yeah, totally.
All right. The second article is the best time to quit your job is right after you get promoted.
Oh, okay. Well,
so getting a promotion to stop many U.S. workers from joining the Great Resignation. In fact, an ADP analysis found that U.S. workers were more likely to leave after getting promoted because promotions could make workers more attractive to other employers. Your thoughts?
I mean,
per the model, 29% of workers quit within a month after their first promotion. That's a lot. I mean,
I feel like usually promotions, I did just get a promotion, but this is like my 7th promotion. So, I mean, no, I'm not, as we've established. I can see it from promotions are usually not a surprise. Like generally you're working, the structure and you're working towards it. It is a really good strategy, honestly, because it gives you more leverage when you're interviewing at other positions.
Yeah, because now you're in a new pay grade, you're in a new title.
You've had, and it kind of shows like you're the next person you're hiring, like, okay, because you can see on a like, I just got promoted a month ago or something, like it's not like if it's a brand new promotion, they can tell, but it just shows like, okay, I've already done the work. Maybe some of that entry level work. I've already established like a baseline of expertise in this industry. Like I'm ready for the next step, and you don't need to invest your resources to teach that to me. So I think it's a good strategy as a team member and as someone who does the hiring. Like, it sucks because I have, again, invested all of this energy and resources to elevate your skills and leadership and all that, and then you leave a month later. It's like,
yeah,
it sucks on the other side for sure.
Right. The article also says like maybe some people were planning to already switch jobs, and like the promotion, you know, like maybe the promotion was meant to try to keep them around or something, right, and it didn't actually work and they left anyway.
Absolutely, I could see that for sure. But
I had a friend locally who, like, she completed a really big project for our local economy. Like, it was a very public project. She'll remain nameless. The project will remain nameless. But she was telling me that, like, in a perfect world, she should leave right after she completed that project and like look for a new job, because she was like at her peak at that role. Yeah. She's like, this was like a nationwide, like well-known nationwide in their industry. She's like, people know this project. And from like after the launch of it, like a very successful launch, it's going to be hard for me to like stay on top or do something even better in the next year or two that could top that, you know? So it's like, I might as well, I'm peaked. Like, I should leave now so that people are remembering that thing as like, oh, you did that. Like, that's so cool. So I could see that as well. Like, because maybe you got the promotion because you hit some really big goals or crushed some, you know, really big projects that were important to the organization. And now those are top of mind. Those are much more fresh to talk about versus a year from that promotion. And then they're like, well, what have you done in the past year? And then they're like, oh, not much. Or like, maybe you're just nervous or lack confidence that you're going to be able to do something that big in the next year. So
this conversation is giving me so much anxiety right now, because I'm like, if you don't continue growing, you lose your value. That's essentially what this conversation is. So
not true, but that's like how, you know, like how to work the game, right? These people who are like trying to work the system of how do I get paid more, or how do I, you know, get the best job title at the right time.
It's terrified. Like, I can't ever leave this company because I can't play that game.
I don't want to play that game either. That's why I'll just work for myself. But I thought it was interesting. I was like, because I never would have necessarily
put that together.
That. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have been like, oh, well, I thought you would want your promotion.
I mean, I can see
as someone who employs people and hires people, I would be like, you just got the promotion, so like you haven't really even done this work yet. So am I hiring you at that level, or am I hiring you at the level right below that? Because you haven't really proven that you can do this job, you know,
hit those KPIs.
You can do the previous job. So to me, it lacks substance in terms of trying to leap somewhere else really quickly and use that to like get a higher pay grade or to secure that position. I'm like, sure, you maybe have earned that position, but I have, like, as a new employer, like I have no context that you're a good fit for that, because I have no evidence that you can do that job. You know what I mean?
Right. But you also have no evidence that I can do that job if I don't even have any of it on my resume, you know?
Correct.
So it's kind of like, at least it's like I was able to get there once, so I can start here, you know?
Yeah. Yes. But I'd rather see like 6 months, you know?
Yeah. I never really thought about it because I haven't had a lot of these like corporate jobs. I've actually never had like a corporate job where you're like, oh, I've got to climb and this and that and that. We talked on a few episodes in the last few episodes about how they don't even stay in a year because they're bouncing and trying to find, like, keep climbing. I've never had that drive. I've just kind of been like, how high can I climb where I am, you know? And proof is in the pudding, going from part-time admin to president. So, you know,
yeah, good job.
Because like the sky is the limit in small business in terms of where you can grow your positions, because it's in many small businesses, sky is not the limit in corporate, but like there is a ceiling. So
you think?
For a lot of, I think so, because they have such defined structures, you know? Like if you start as like admin, like there's so much like hierarchy, you're not just going to bounce up so high, you know?
Yeah, you'd really have to work.
At least that's my experience. Like,
but I mean, when I was in corporate, like I always saw myself, I was talking to Tyler about this yesterday because we were talking about some like sustainability roles. And little known fact, when I was at the University of Georgia, I worked at the Office of Sustainability. And part of like one of the jobs or projects that I was working on there was creating like a certificate of sustainability for the school so that students could get like a minor or a specialization in sustainability. And so I was like putting together like what curriculum they would have to do. And like when I worked in corporate, like I just always saw myself as like, if I'm going to stay here, like I want to be the VP of sustainability. Like I wanted to move to that executive position. And I always thought it would be possible if I stuck around.
Yeah.
So
but then where do you go from there?
You just stay there, I guess, for a while. Yeah. Or then you go to CEO, or then you go to another company. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess it's like I can see both sides for sure.
I guess I thought that was the bee's knees. Like that was what I thought the goal was.
That was the goal. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think it's easier in corporate because you know exactly where you're going. You take this step and then you take this step and then you take this step. But there's no deviating from the step and there's no avoiding hierarchy, you know?
Right. And there's no like typically like making up a position for yourself or
right. Like, or exploring new opportunities. And there's so much seniority that you have to take into consideration before you can make those moves. Like someone would have needed to die for you to take that position. You know what I mean? Like,
or leave. Yeah.
I mean, guess leave, but then you get into those positions and like those people are not leaving.
Right.
I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. I'm not that tuned in. Like maybe they're going to a different company. But then you can just go to that company.
To work for themselves after that. Actually, I've seen like a couple, because I'm still like connected to some of my corporate people on LinkedIn, and I saw one of our VPs that we worked closely with, Tyler and I that worked closely with, it was like, oh, he's like an executive coach now. I was like, oh, that's interesting. He runs his own company.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's interesting. Like, because on the flip side, many small businesses are not going to go to that point where they're ever going to need a VP of sustainability or a president even, you know, like, so there is a ceiling. I guess it's just, there's more room for creativity and web structures. So if you can carve out an area of the business that's yours, that like becomes your expertise and like, brings value.
The big fish.
Yeah, and you can create opportunities for yourself easier, I find, without having to like step on other people or
go through a bunch of red tape.
Yeah. So pros and cons. Yeah.
All right, next article. Top ways to attract Gen Z workers.
Okay, let's hear it. Okay, we have not one single Gen Z on our team.
Yeah, how do we attract them? Let's see what they're interested in, okay? So it says the current hiring market is competitive, but companies can take steps to attract Gen Z job seekers. All right. Number 1, express a clear dedication to diversity and social impact.
Yes. No brainer.
Social impact, doing good, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Make sure you're demonstrating real commitment, not just, because they're the most diverse generation and they vote with their dollars. They follow organizations on social media that ensure companies are doing more than paying lip service to philanthropy, and they want their employers to do the same. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, be transparent about pay and growth opportunities.
Yes.
Gens in this current competitive hiring market, Gen Zers know that they can take jobs in the gig economy to earn money if they feel prospective employers aren't prepared to pay them what they deserve. I think that that's an interesting shift from like our generation. Definitely, we took
whatever we could get
for us. Like there was no gig economy. Well, there was, but like it was not what it is now.
Lucrative like it is now. No, it was
at all. And so like it felt like there was one path and it was like go get a job, and now like the gig economy is huge, and so you're basically competing with that flexibility and that type of money, you know?
Yeah, there's so much money in that in the gig economy as well, because what they deserve, there's also so much more transparency around, like, influencers will happily share that they're getting paid $20,000 to do this, or you know, people just are much more open with talking about finances and their money and their salaries and their expenses, and you can't hide behind like societal pressure to keep those conversations quiet anymore.
Yeah. No. So, you know, it says employers should be able to cautiously articulate what their companies have to offer beyond salaries too, you know?
Yes.
So
flexibility,
professional development opportunities, career mobility, stuff we've been talking about, tuition reimbursement, professional development stipends, training programs. They want to know what's in it for them if they come to work for you. So
100%. Yeah.
That's something we are wanting to work on, is like, we have a really good benefits package, quote unquote benefits, but I think that we haven't defined our benefits as clearly as they should be in our like hiring process of like how many, you know, days you get off, or like the flexibility and like what that kind of adds up to, as well as like we'll pay for your training if you want to develop another skill set, you know. We don't yet have health insurance, we don't yet have 401k. Those are things that we're like working on and on the path to, but there are other benefits that maybe are even more enticing to be, like mentorship, you know, like you're going to learn a ton here that then you can take to other organizations or to your next job if you decide to leave us. And then I also read somewhere, I don't know if it was this article or another one, but like if you're like doing salary ranges, make them as tight as possible so that they're actually accurate, right? You know, that they're giving people like a good idea.
$60,000 to $90,000. It's like,
I've seen
the whole car in the middle there.
Like 80,000 to 130,000. I'm like, that's a big difference.
That's
right?
Someone's
like,
annual salary in the difference.
In the middle. Yeah. So it's like, tighten those up if possible. You're not fooling anyone. Like,
like to me, it's like
real pay.
I feel like to me, like once you get in a salary range, if it's under $100,000, should be like $5,000. If it's over $100,000, like maybe $10,000, you know, depending on your experience. But like, if I'm willing to pay $130,000, like, how am I differentiating who's worth 80 and who's worth 130? That's just asinine to me.
It's like experience level, but honestly, how long are you going to keep that person in if they're at that?
But if you're if you're willing to hire someone at $80,000 because of their experience level, and someone at 100, that's like two different experience levels. So what do you actually need for this role?
Right. Like you need to be more clear of what you actually want. Right.
Yeah, do you need the $130,000 hire, and you maybe only need them for a year, and then you can hire someone under them to like train, or are you good with the $80,000 hire?
Right.
It's like, that's just, to me, it's like you don't know what you need or want.
All right, number 3 is offer community through mentorship and affinity groups. So Gen Zers need to see that you know how to build a great company culture and that you can offer them support as part of your team.
What's an affinity group?
An affinity group is like, so I used to be a part of an affinity group in my corporate job, where it's like people that are in the same kind of job roles or stage of life, and it's like a networking, like a mastermind group. It's like a mastermind, but like internally and in the organization, right? Like we have affinity with each other, we relate to each other because of the stage of life, or because the job role, or because where we came from, type of thing. So having basically these small groups that people can join or be a part of or lead is a good opportunity for them to connect with other people. So and mentorship. I know that when I was in my corporate role, like I also got assigned a mentor, which was nice.
Did they mentor you?
They did. He really took a affinity to me. Perfect. He did take me under his wing. I think that I really disappointed him when I left. So
well, maybe he should have given you more than 4 days off a year.
Yeah, he should have. But I did really admire him and appreciate him while we were working together. I appreciated his mentorship. I could call him whenever. We always had like set calls too. Like I think it was at least once a month.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. Someone who's like helping you move along, like growth stuff, you know, beyond just your manager. I didn't have that kind of rapport with my manager, so it was nice to have someone who I kind of
felt like was on your team,
had that respect with, and who respected me, I think, a little bit more as like a business person than my manager did at the time. So okay, number 4, focus on skills and competencies, not a candidate's major.
This is like what we talk about. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, like
most important thing.
No one cares about your major or your course of study. I don't even care if you actually went to college anymore.
I don't give a care at all. Especially like the later in life, like James doesn't have college degree. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like we are maybe right out of school. Okay. Like, what have you been studying? You know, maybe.
But like, what did you learn? That's a better question than what have you been studying?
Yeah.
It says we're in a time when enrollment in higher education institutions is falling. Not all students are choosing the higher education route, so major is a non-factor. I totally agree. Even someone who went to higher education, I got 2 degrees. I have a master's degree and a bachelor's degree, and I don't use either of them. Like,
I know.
For what I do now, am I still really thankful that I have them? I learned a lot in terms of how to learn and how to network and how to
do other things.
Yeah.
How to be in community. How to be in a sorority. James and I talk about this all the time with our kids because he has 2 unfinished degrees, 1 course shy on both of them. And I have a degree in culinary education, right? So it's like, which I did use for 10 years. Don't get me wrong.
I did use mine at first, but not anymore.
And it's still a life skill. Like I learned how to cook, you know, like, and I can cook.
It would have been more useful than mine.
Right. I learned lots of other things that come along with managing a restaurant business, you know, but we say all the time, like, especially because our kids will graduate high school at 17. And so we're like, please take a gap year. Like, please work, please travel, please don't just decide that you want to go get an English degree unless you want to get an English degree because you want to be a teacher and you have, you know what I mean? But if you're like, I'm just going to go to university and get like this Bachelor of Arts, I'm going to be like, please don't. Like, please don't start your life on that financial footing because like, I'm not going to be able to pay for their education, right? So please just, if you don't know what you want to do, don't do anything. And like, if a trade is calling your name, like I will be the first person in your cheerleading squad because I just feel like higher education is kind of a scam.
Yeah, especially like a lot of continuing to increase. Like it's ridiculous.
$40,000 a year here.
Yeah, it's like, probably even more here. Yeah,
for just a basic like 4-year degree that gets you nothing. That you then have to keep going with something. You know.
Yeah, the ROI isn't good. So
unless you want to be a doctor or a dentist, you know, like if you have like this is what I want to do and this is the path I have to take, like, sure, 100%. But if you're like, I don't really know, I want to go explore. I'm like, how about we go explore the world?
Yeah. When I was in college, when I went to college, it was just like the thing to do, right? At my age, like, everyone just goes to college. Like you're just supposed to go to college.
100%.
But it's really interesting because when I think back on that time, like I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I honestly wasn't even like thinking about it. Like even in college, I was like, I don't know. Like, what do I want to do? Like, I don't want to do anything probably, right? Like, what do I want to do? Like, I know some people go into college and like, I want to be a doctor, or like they have, you know, they have parents, they like wanted, I don't know. They just know, they're really clear on what they want to do from a young age. I want to be a teacher. I just never had that. Like, I never was really clear, and my parents didn't instill in me that I should think about that.
Right.
My high school didn't instill in me that we should think about that. I feel like there should be a class in high school where you kind of like think about some jobs or something and what careers are.
There is here. It's called careers.
I didn't have that. And so like I got to college and I was like, I guess I'll pick a business degree because I don't know. So I started in business and then I was like, I don't really want to do business.
And here you are.
And here I am doing business. got the business degree, but
No.
Then I started in zoology because I wanted to study like animals and wildlife. And then about a year into that, I realized that track was more for pre-vet. And I was like, I don't want to be a vet. Like maybe when I was 5, I wanted to be a vet, but I don't want to put animals to sleep. I don't want to do surgery on animals. Like that's not what I want to do. Like I want to study animals. I want to like do research and advocacy for animals, you know, rights and like sustainability things. So then I switched my major to wildlife ecology and conservation. And here we are now. Should have stuck with the business degree, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I remember when I was in high school, because I knew I wanted to be a chef from a very young age. Grew up watching like all the cooking, you know. And when I was in high school applying for, my guidance counselor told me I was wasting my life, like that I should be going to university, that it was short-sighted of me to be going to college and getting this 2-year degree. Meanwhile, I went to school. I mean, I got a full scholarship ride, but if I hadn't have, I was graduated in 2 years, got incredible jobs, and would have been out of student debt at like 21.
But instead, you had already got a scholarship, and then you're just banking cash.
Right. No, then I was just spending it all.
So will that
But I just mean like even then they were saying like you have to go to university. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to learn any of that. So anyway, this is a total sidetrack. But we hope our kids either know what they want to do, and even if it changes in 10-15, I don't care. Like if you know what you want to do, go do that. And if you don't know what you want to do not give these institutions your money until you know what you want. Like
for real.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube University until you can figure it out, right?
I don't care. Just go get a job, work full time, save your money. Like, yeah.
All right. Number 5 of this is go where Gen Z hangs out. Where do you think it is?
TikTok.
How can you build your brand? Do they want to see things like day in the life at this job? So like, how can you build your company culture?
Right.
Show them what the company culture is as a brand on TikTok. So,
okay.
Interesting. Noted. And then number 6, the final one is cultivate a spirit of entrepreneurship. Gen Zers need to know that you're creating an innovative workplace and building a culture of entrepreneurship within your team is one way you can do that.
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurs. Employers can talk about the ways that you build that you can build projects, processes, programs, and systems and be part of creating something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Just come work at Run Like Clockwork because that's all I do is saying,
I have an idea, make it happen.
Would you like to help create it?
I have an idea, bring it to life. We're like, okay.
Because they say that that's exciting for them. So cool, right?
Okay. Well, Gen Z, we're ready for you.
If you're not doing any of those things, you're not going to be attracting Gen Zers. And guess what? They are the next
no choice.
Big part of our workforce. So
they are coming because millennials are the managers now, which means Gen Z is going to be. They're coming. They're coming for us. So
they want jobs.
They're coming for our necks. No, they're not. They're coming for community.
I don't think they want our jobs as badly as like we wanted jobs. So
no,
they're going to be harder to attract.
They're definitely not coming from our necks at all. They're just like not into it.
Like we were the generation, and maybe even before us too, of like, please give me a job. Like someone just please give me a job.
I just need a job.
Please hire me. Yeah. Like just please. I just need a job. I know that like when I graduated from college, it was 2008. Like we were in a recession. I was like,
oh yeah,
someone please pay me anything, and I'll do whatever. You know?
Yeah.
And this generation, I don't think that they're like that at all. I think that they're, like it said, like they'll just go get something in the gig economy or, you know, do a contractor type of role or start their own business. Like those things are so much more accessible to them. They're not like begging companies for jobs.
You can run a business from your phone. You know what I mean? Like they don't need anything. And also like their goals are so much different.
We need them more than they need us. And so it's like we have to be willing to do these things that we're talking about in this article, right? Like if you're like, oh, that's annoying, I don't want to do those things. And like, okay, good luck.
Well, enjoy employing, you know, only a certain type of person with a certain type of mindset and see where that takes you in life. Because also Gen Z has such different goals. Like they're like they're like, I'm never buying a house, and that's cool. They don't need to. A lot of them are not going to have children, which means they don't care about family. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, no, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm here to like redefine what a successful life looks like. And it does not include a lot of those things that other people had traditionally set as the markers of success. So you have to adapt.
All right, last article for today. I know we're running long, but
oh my gosh, look at us go.
Paid sabbaticals to retain top talent.
We talked about
what
this.
have we been saying at Clockwork? We've been saying paid sabbaticals, paid time off, paid 4-week vacation. So this article is about someone who worked at an organization. It's written from the team member perspective, and they shared that once you have been at the firm for 10 years, you get a $1,000 bonus and you get an 8-week paid sabbatical. And so when she crossed that 10-year threshold, she was the first team member to pack her bags and log off for 2 months. And then her job was there for her when she came back. But she said that it was a time of resting and reconnecting with herself. And she came back so much more motivated for her work and like rejuvenated, like ready to dive in and bring new life and excitement to the role. I loved this article just because obviously at Run Like Clockwork, we're advocates of the 4-week vacation for the CEO, but then also rolling that out to the rest of the team. I liked that they had like, when you're like markers or goals of like, when you're here for 10 years, you earn that. Or like, so there's things that you could do in your organization too. Like, is there a milestone that they need to reach so that they can earn it? Or is it something that you just want to do for anyone who, you know, does the work to clockwork their role? But I want to start calling them sabbaticals because it just sounds so much more like an intellectual time off, you know?
Yeah. It's not just like sipping Mai Tais, although that's great too. It's just
great too, but like paid
seems more intentional than a vacation, you know? I feel like my best friend, she took, I think it was after 5 years. I think she got 4 weeks paid, I want to say.
Which makes sense, right? That's like, there's this 10 and you get 8. So that could be like a good milestone too. If you're there for 5, you get 4.
Yeah. I think in order to take it, she had to sign another 1-year contract after it.
Ooh, interesting.
You know what I mean? I feel like she's going to be like, that's not what happened, Emily. But I think there was something around, you can take this if you sign a contract for your time after. Because this is on top of your vacation time.
Right.
So, you know, if you've been somewhere 10 years, you've probably also grown to like 4 to 6 weeks of vacation, paid vacation time. This is on top of that. So it's just something to keep in mind. I'm sure
there's parameters about like consecutive use of your 4 or 8 weeks plus your vacation or whatever. But I think it's a really good reward / motivational tool that we can be using in organizations for our team members. I think that at Run Like Clockwork, we've talked a lot about it for the CEO. And then as people get their CEO clockworked, we've rolled it out to team members. But I like even adding like the milestones so that it's not like everyone doing it all at once, but rather like an earned thing for seniority or for sticking or like for retaining talent, right? Like how this is a way to retain top talent. So like, especially I have a friend who, she's with a company and I don't know that this is the best example because like she would love to leave her company, but she has to stay there for a certain number of years to get like her equity stake in the company. And so she's like kind of staying so that she earns her equity and then she'll probably think about leaving. But I mean, at least they had her for maybe 3 more years than they would have had her, which is a long time, you know?
Yeah, that is a long time.
So even thinking about this of like, if there are, you know, if someone's working towards that 5-year mark, like, and maybe they would have left a year ago, as long as they're still performing, like, it's kind of a good motivator. You keep them around longer than maybe you would have if you didn't have some of these tools. And maybe that sabbatical rejuvenates them, you know, because this extended break is meant to keep people satisfied, keep people fresh. And I don't think enough people are doing it. People are scared. I think companies are scared.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, like a few of our team members were supposed to take 4 week sabbaticals in 2023 and none of us did. So, like, I'm doing it in 2024. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, you've hit your 5-year now, so maybe we say 5 years.
You have to.
That was part of the challenge for us, right? Was we had so many people that we wanted to take them, and there was only so many months in the year. We were like, how are we going to do this? Because we already have a small team. And maybe if we had said, actually, it's like when you hit your 5 years, that's when you earn your 4 weeks, you know, and when you hit your 10 years, you earn your 8 weeks. Then it would have been a little bit easier to manage, I think, versus everyone trying to take a 1 month and then everyone's gone and no one's working.
And it just didn't work out, you know, because like it's a small business, right? So, and everyone wanted to take them at the same time because summer, you know? So
I'm like, well, I guess I'll be working.
So yeah, it's again, this is all just to say, like, it's not easy, but you should, like, it's definitely worth consideration. So
yeah,
and I think it's a really good motivator for people.
I agree.
You know, to stay longer, because that's the one thing that we as can, as long as the job is enjoyable in the interim, like, we can never, having that much time off for the average person seems inconceivable. 4 consecutive weeks off, like, that seems like I would never get that until retirement.
Yeah, like, I think about the, like, retention is just like, this is one piece of a much more holistic plan, right? Yeah. So it's like, yes, this is something that will keep people around, but also you have to be doing the other things too, so that they enjoy their job, and you're constantly working to, like, move them towards a dream job. You're helping them find new challenges and new projects. Like, you have to be doing all of these things, but this is like another one thing that you can do to, like, make the pie even sweeter, right?
Yeah, totally. Okay, this is our longest episode to date, so we gotta be done.
Gotta go, everyone. We will see you next Tuesday. I hope that you subscribe, and please share this episode with someone else. And if you have a story that you would like to share with us, please go to dearworkwives.com. You can submit an anonymous story, and we would love to talk about you on the air.
We would love to. Okay, see you next Tuesday. Perfect.